You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? The Hunter Biden story that should be all over the news, but isn't. It's actually only being covered by some conservative media outlets plus Politico. Now, Politico is not conservative, it's in fact left wing. Many of Politico's writers and staff reporters and top editors are originally from the Washington Post. That's how this website began. Some editors from the Washington Post broke off and they began Politico. Politico is supposed to be a straightforward news site. It is liberal tinged, like the Washington Post, from which they came, was and still is. And Politico at least finally did its job many months after the election and covered a Hunter Biden story that had been heretofore unknown except in the Blaze. The Blaze, which is part of the media, the I should say disintegrating media empire owned by Glenn Beck, they broke this story back in the fall. I believe it was in October or September of 2020. So during the presidential campaign, they broke this story. Nobody paid any attention to it, and then that was the last anybody heard of it. Now, what is this story? Well, this story is something you should know because it's about a cover up. And the cover up has the involvement of the U.S. Secret Service. And not only does it have their involvement, but they are denying their involvement, even though we have the receipts, we have the goods. And not only does it involve their involvement despite their denials, but it also involves their involvement when they interfered at a time they should not have been protecting either Joe Biden, despite the fact that he was a former vice president, or his son, Hunter Biden, and yet they were somehow involved. And they're not answering questions. And this leads to more questions. Whenever they don't tell you something, you have to wonder, what else aren't they telling you? You know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know also. Yes, I know it sounds like a puzzle, but unfortunately, that is the nature of the Bidens and especially Hunter Biden. We don't know what we don't know, but we know some of what we don't know. And that leads us to this story. So, Hunter Biden was a gun owner. He had a gun that is believed to have been registered to him. That gun ended up in a garbage can behind a supermarket. Now, how did it get there? Well, Politico doesn't go into all of the details. We will. But I'll tell you the Cliff Notes of what Politico said. So, Politico said that Hunter Biden, as we all know, was dating his sister in law. The wife, the widow of his brother, Beau Biden, he was dating, euphemism, her. And we know that that didn't last, it didn't work out. But he was dating her for a while. We also know that he's a mess. And she found out that he had a gun and she took it from him and she deposited it. Her name, by the way, is Hallie Biden. So Hallie Biden, widow of Beau Biden, who was dating at the time in 2018 Hunter Biden. It's kind of like we have to give you a chart with the X's and O's here. She took Hunter Biden's gun and deposited it in a garbage can behind this supermarket called Jensen's, which was a high-end supermarket at which the Bidens shopped. Not just Hunter, but also his parents, Joe and fake Dr. Jill, faux Dr. Jill. So the police got involved. Why? Because guess what? They went back to retrieve the gun. It was no longer there. It was no longer there. And you know what happens? This is my worst fear as a gun owner. And if you're a gun owner, you're watching this, and you probably are nodding your head that this is your worst fear. Your worst fear, and this is actually very common, is not that a child will get a hold of your gun and kill himself or herself. That actually is very rare as well. It's this that is not rare at all, which is that your gun gets stolen and it is used in a crime, and you get blamed because maybe you didn't report it to the police in time because you didn't know it was missing, or you knew it was missing but you thought you'd retrieve it. That's what happened here. Not that there was a crime, but that the gun has not been had not been found. It has since been found, and they were looking for it, and they were afraid that it would be used to commit a crime. Not only that, but this garbage can was just yards away from a school, and the police were worried that somebody would take this gun. Now, Hunter Biden did not want the police to know what was really going on here, and he didn't want them really to be involved, but he had no choice because now his sister-in-law, the widow of his brother, with whom he was sleeping and cheating on, and we'll get to that in a minute, reported it to the police. And then the police came and they questioned him. And that is where we will pick up, because this story from Politico is gold. It's comedy gold, and it is evidence gold. There are a lot of golden nuggets in this story. And we will start with the first one, and this is a quote that I picked out from the Politico story. Take a look. All right, so we all know that Joe Biden has an immigration policy that involves welcoming tons of illegal Mexicans and others into this country. And he tries to protect them because turning them away is, quote, not who we are. We'll look at this. And this is from the police report as featured in the Politico article. At one point, two of Jansen's, that's the high-end supermarket, employees, described by the police report as Mexican males, walked past the loading dock area, and Hunter told a police officer that the store had some suspicious people working for it. Asked if he was referring to those two staffers, Hunter responded, yeah, probably illegal, according to the report. So he sees two people that are Mexican males. You can tell they're Mexican because looking at them, they appear to be Mexican. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they're Arabs. Maybe they are from some other country. Maybe they're not Mexican, but they appear to be Mexican. And so when he sees two Mexicans, they could be Mexican Americans, they could be U.S. citizens, he automatically assumes that they are illegal. He says, yeah, probably illegal. Probably without the B-A-B in it. Probably illegal. He assumes that, and he says they are suspicious characters. All right, now what makes them suspicious? Because they're Mexican? So automatically Mexicans are suspicious, distrust, that you shouldn't trust them. They're untrustworthy people, Mexicans. That's what he said. He said they're suspicious. He says they're shady. Said you can't trust them. He said they're probably illegal. All because they look Mexican. That's the conclusions he draws. So he's a bigot. He's a racist. And Joe Biden is trying to pretend that he and both his sons, the dead one and this loser that's still alive, that they're all socially woke, that they are with it, that they are open-minded, tolerant, liberal people. But guess what? They aren't. You think Hunter Biden learned his views of Hispanics on his own? Hell no. He learned it from his dad. The apple does not fall far from the tree. He's a bigot. His father's a bigot. And we know his father's a bigot. How do we know that? Because he talked about Barack Obama, that here comes this nice, polished guy who's black and he could speak English. Oh, he would make a good president because other black people, according to his view, are not polished. They can't speak English well. They don't look so nice. They're not clean, according to him. He also said the same kind of thing about 7-Elevens and Dunkin' Donuts. He made negative and derogatory comments about Indian Americans who mostly run these establishments. And they work very hard, and their whole families work very hard. But apparently, they are to be part of some of Joe Biden's stereotypes. And Hunter Biden, those stereotypes have been passed on along to him on Mexicans. And there is so much more on this. By the way, Joe Biden also said something about poor people don't get as much opportunities as white people. So he's basically saying all blacks are poor and blah, blah, blah. So there is so much more to this story, and we will get to it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467. Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we are talking about Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, whose real name, by the way, is Robert Hunter Biden. But he doesn't want to go by Bob or Bobby, apparently, or Rob. He has to be Hunter. But you know what? You could have a fancy first name. You could still be a scumbag. And he is Exhibit A. I used to say that when Bill Clinton was in the White House and he had his brother Roger Clinton, I used to say, if you like, and there he is, I used to say, if you like Billy Carter, brother of Jimmy, or as I should say, Billa, brother of Jimmo, if you liked him, you would love Roger Clinton. Now I say, and there he is with that Billy Bear, remember him? Good old boy who took over $250,000, some say as much as $500,000 to $2 million from Muammar Gaddafi to lobby his brother to have the U.S. make nice with Libya. Remember that? So I used to say, if you liked Billy Carter, you would love Roger Clinton. And now I say, if you like Billy Carter and you like Roger Clinton, you will love Hunter Biden. And we see, here are the receipts. Yeah, there he is. So that picture was reportedly on his laptop, and there are others of him. There are some pictures of him allegedly snorting cocaine. I couldn't find them today, but they are out there. Google it. You will find it. So this guy had a gun. It was taken and put into a garbage can. Now, you might be asking, why was it put into the garbage can? And we will talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to show you Another nugget from this article in Politico. Take a look at screen number 2. So, when a police officer asked Hunter whether the gun had been used in a crime, the officer reported that Hunter became very agitated with me and asked me if I was intentionally trying to make him mad because, Hunter would never be involved in crime ever, right? According to the report. When the officer asked Hunter whether he had been doing drugs or drinking heavily, he responded, "Listen, it isn't like that. I think she believes I was going to kill myself," according to the report. So yeah, it isn't like that. He's not a drug user. He was only kicked out of the U.S. military with a dishonorable discharge for being a crackhead or a cokehead, something like that. He was using narcotics. I believe he was a coke addict. So, yeah, that's why, well, we will get into this later, but I have a nickname for him, or one of my friends on social media does. We will get into that. But this guy was a known drug addict. Everybody knows this. This was not a secret at that time. But that's why the gun was put in the garbage can. Apparently, his then girlfriend, his sister-in-law, the widow of his brother, whom he was at the time dating, euphemism, and also cheating on her, which we'll get to in a second, she thought he was going to commit suicide. So she took his gun from his truck and put it in the garbage can of a supermarket. This whole story is crazy. And then he blames it on the poor Mexican employees who may be Americans. They might be U.S. citizens, but because they look Mexican, they're suspicious, they're untrustworthy, and they're probably, not probably, but probably illegal. Yeah, that is our president's son. So as Joe Biden would say, that's who we are. Or at least that's who they are, the Bidens. So there's that. Now, nugget number 3. Take a look at screen number 3. An officer asked Hunter whether he had called his father about the incident before he arrived. Hunter responded, "I've never called my dad for anything," according to the police report. Yeah, and I have some land to sell you in wherever it is in Delaware where they live, because I'm just telling you, we all know he's called his dad many times about Burisma, about other things having to do with Ukraine, about the Chi-Coms, so that he could collect their money. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. We know he calls his dad for a lot of favors. How do you think he got on the board of Burisma? After being questioned, Hunter retrieved the case for the gun, which included the gun's serial number, from Hallie's house. That's his former sister-in-law and the widow of his late brother and his ex-girlfriend now, and returned to the grocery store to hand it over to police, according to the report. So they must live pretty close to this supermarket. But here's what my question is. As we all know, all firearms have to have a serial number on them so that they can be traced, so that if it is involved in a crime, they can try and find the suspect or try and find the Hunter Biden from whom it was allegedly stolen and dumped after being dumped in a garbage can because he was suicidal after using drugs and, dating euphemism, his sister-in-law. Everybody knows that there are serial numbers on these firearms. So why did he have to go get the case? Well, because the gun was missing and there was no way to look at the serial number on the gun. That's what I'm assuming. But the gun was later found. There have been stories that the gun wasn't found, but if you actually read through the Politico story, it actually was found and it was turned back in. But I have to tell you more about this story. This story is about courage, and the courageous person here is not anybody here except for maybe the police taking the report, because they know that Joe Biden had a lot of juice. They knew at that time Joe Biden was going to be running for president, or was being talked about as running for president, and he was talking about that he was thinking of running again. They knew that. So these police who took this report, who were treated horribly by Hunter Biden, and we know this because you saw quote number 2, where Hunter Biden asked the police officer if he was trying to make him angry by asking him if the gun had been used in a crime or if Hunter Biden had been on drugs, which are both, by the way, very legitimate questions that the police might ask any of us, especially Hunter Biden, since we know he was dishonorably discharged from the U.S. military for being a cokehead. So this is wrong. The police can't do this. I give the police a lot of credit because they know they could probably lose their jobs. The Bidens were still extremely influential in Delaware. I mean, after all, this was the U.S. Senator from Delaware for decades. This was the vice president for 8 years. And this is his son who's got a lot of money. They are very wealthy. These are powerful people. So I give the police a lot of credit. But I'll tell you who I give a lot more credit to. And that is the owner of the gun store where the gun was purchased. And we will get to that probably after the break. But first, I want to show you some things that confirm some of this story. So, first of all, I should tell you that the Secret Service has denied that they were involved in this. And this is probably part of the story I haven't told you a lot about. The Secret Service went to the gun store where Hunter Biden purchased the gun. And they asked the owner of the store to give them the paperwork. You know what they were going to do? They were going to make this disappear. The story was going to go away. The papers that showed that Hunter Biden owned a gun were going to disappear. You know it, and I know it. And what happens after this? Well, we will tell you after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we are talking about the story that you won't see anywhere on the mainstream media. ABC News not covering it. NBC News not covering it. CBS News not covering it. If this were Donald Trump Jr., or Ivanka Trump, You think this would not be all over the news? Right now, it would be all over the news. And Donald Trump is not even president anymore. Joe Biden's the president. This is his son. The Secret Service tried to get involved in something where they had no business being. They weren't even protecting him or Joe Biden at the time. So what is going on here? There are so many questions. But you know, when I woke up this morning, I turned on the Today Show. I turned on Good Morning America. I turned on the CBS morning show. None of them covered this story. They don't want you to know about it. They buried it. I do give credit to Politico for finally covering this, but as we told you towards the beginning of the show, this story was broken by the Blaze back in the fall during the presidential election. Would it have made the difference? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff about Hunter Biden, and people are morons. They voted for Joe Biden anyway. But it might have made a difference with some people. This is a pretty sleazy thing that went on. And here is the person who has the biggest cojones in this story, who is the toughest guy and the most moral, a guy we should respect because he did not crack under pressure. And that is this guy named Ron Palmieri. Now, Ron Palmieri is the owner of the gun store where the gun was purchased. It's called StarQuest Shooters and Survival Supply in Wilmington, Delaware. So he was asked by the Secret Service. The Secret Service showed up on the scene of this whole thing along with the FBI. The FBI it could see, but really this case was an ATF case. This was alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives case. How was this a Secret Service case? Again, Joe Biden was no longer getting Secret Service protection. Neither was Hunter Biden. They should not have been involved. It was totally improper. And I hope, but unfortunately the Democrats control the Senate now, I hope that somehow the Republicans find a way to get hearings on this, because we need to get to the bottom of this about why the Secret Service acted as Hunter Biden's own personal henchman when he was no longer a protectee of them. This is, even if he were a protectee, they shouldn't have gotten involved. But this, they definitely shouldn't have gotten involved. So they went to StarQuest Shooters and Survival Supply, and which is an interesting name for people who are on the left to buy a gun from, since they always call us right-wing nuts and survivalists and we're idiots. All right, so he bought his gun there. They went there, and the owner, Mr. Palmieri, said, no, I'm not giving you the paperwork. You don't get it. I'm not giving it to you. You don't have any business here. This is an ATF kind of a case. They have jurisdiction. If they want the paperwork, I will turn it over to them, but I'm not giving it to you. Good for him, because if he had done that, you and I know what would have happened. Hunter Biden's friends in the Secret Service would have destroyed the only copies. We would never know about this story, and that would be the end of it. That's what they were doing here, and this should concern all Americans, because you were paying their salary while they were acting as basically mafia protectors for a mob boss's son, Joe Biden's son. You know, they were not public servants then. Hunter Biden's never been one. Joe Biden wasn't one then. Why was this happening? The Secret Service claims that they were not involved and that this never happened and that Rob Palmieri is lying. But guess what? There is now proof of that, and the proof is in his text messages. So there's a whole long text, and there's a lot of gold in that too. Comedy gold and information gold. And we have it in a few screens, so I want you to take a look. Here's screen number 1. She has this is about his former sister-in-law, the widow of his brother, Beau, whom he was dating dating euphemism. She has repeatedly made me feel, this is Hallie Biden, sexually inadequate in comparison to the men she has been with before me, and then tells me all she needs from me is sex. She has shown me pictures of the escort she planned to see. Joe Biden's daughter-in-law seeing escorts. She has implied that she and her girlfriends were romantically involved behind my back. So were they romantically involved with each other? That's what it sounds like. So Joe Biden's daughter-in-law is bi, or she goes all different ways. Yet this is our president. This is his son. This is his daughter-in-law. This is very salacious and disgusting. But this is the soap opera you get when you elect this kind of a person president. All right, now let's take a look at screen number 2. All right, so it's hard to read some of it because we've got red lines through there, but she has implied that so-and-so and I are sleeping together. She has told people that I constantly and obsessively invade her privacy, going through photos, phone bills, etc. She forgets that she was the first to do it, blah, blah, blah. So we know that he and she are busybodies. They are obsessive. They go through each other's bills. This is our president's family. Good luck with that. All right, now this is the most important screen from the text because he is writing this and it confirms that the Secret Service were involved despite their denial and their pretense that they were not and that they didn't try to bully this guy, Ron Palmieri. So he says, she stole the gun out of my truck lockbox and threw in a garbage can full to the top at Jansen's. Then told me it was my problem to deal with. Then when the police, the FBI, the Secret Service, who would say they weren't involved, came on the scene, she said she took it from me because she was scared I would harm myself due to my drug and alcohol problem and our volatile relationship, and that she was afraid for the kids. So there, he confirms it. These are messed up people. And if you don't think Joe Biden is messed up and that they got it from him, think again. We know Joe Biden's a bigot. He got that from him. And he got this from him. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Remember, 10% for the big guy. Do you remember that reference? That was how they were going to give 10% of the money they collected from Ukraine and China, from the Chi-Coms, for the big guy, who was Joe Biden. He and his uncle, Joe Biden's brother, were going to do that. So this is what goes on in this family. So there's that. Now, apparently when he was dating, euphemism, his sister-in-law, who is the widow of his brother, Beau Biden, by the way, he abruptly left her because he cheated on her with a stripper who he had a kid with and with Melissa Cohen, a woman he met in South Africa and married 2 weeks later, and is now his current wife. He has 5 kids, this guy. 5 kids. I think he's 49 years old, something like that. So when he was dating, euphemism, his sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, he was in the shower texting her married sister, whose name is Elizabeth Secundi, and she was calling him her prince. So this guy's a lowlife. He's a jerk. And they all are. Again, Joe Biden, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Now, before we end talking about this, I just want to point out a few other things. Why now? Why did this come out in March, the end of March, after Joe Biden was elected? Well, you know why. They did not want to do this story before then. But then after that, when they were working on this story, they hit a lot of roadblocks, Politico did. They didn't want to hurt Joe Biden. They're in the tank for him. But they're not that in the tank. And they will not miss an opportunity to get eyeballs to their site, which this story definitely has. Now, one last question. So nobody knows what Hunter Biden's Secret Service name is, at least that I could figure. I looked it up. We know that all presidential family members and vice presidential family members, they get Secret Service protection. And they all have code names. I could not find his name. So I was wondering what you think would be a good Secret Service name for him. If you come up with something, put it on our social media pages, on our Facebook page, or send it to us on our Twitter account, tweet it to us. One of my friends on Twitter had a great name, and that was Snortus, the chief snorter of the United States. And I think that's probably a good one. I would say Roger Clinton Reboot, or the first Bleep Up, or their Fortunate Son. There are so many good ones. So what would you call him? What is his Secret Service name? If you know what it is, let us know. I couldn't find anything. All right, when we come back, COVID is still with us. Or at least they want you to believe that you need to destroy your life. No Passover, no Easter for that. We'll talk about it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about Hunter Biden and the latest scandal surrounding him with his gun and the Secret Service trying to cover it up. And I asked you what you thought his Secret Service code name is or should be, and I gave you a few of mine. I forgot one of mine. It's Snow White. Get it? Anyway, COVID is still with us to some extent. But we need to reopen America. We need to have Passover, which starts Saturday night. We need to have Easter, which is next weekend. We need to go back to life as normal. We should be going back. Listen, if these vaccines work, if they're like they're supposed to, and the numbers seem to reflect that, why are we still locking ourselves down? I'll tell you why, because we've accepted it. Nobody has challenged this. Yes, a few people here and there, in certain parts of America, you'll see videos. Those people end up getting arrested. People who don't want to wear their mask, people who want to live their lives normally, people who don't want to wear one of those stupid masks we showed you yesterday that covers your nose while you're eating and talking. This is ridiculous. We need to go back to normal. But we're not acting up. We're not protesting in the streets like all these Black Lives Matter people did. I'm not advocating burning down businesses and looting like they did and killing people. But we really need to rise up and exercise our First Amendment rights. And Rob Schneider, of all people, remember him, Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and he's also a Saturday Night Live alum. He is actually kind of right of center on a lot of things these days. Guess he's gotten wise to things, as have a number of celebrities, not enough, but a few. And he tweeted out this video from people on a plane headed from the United States to Israel. And he said, this is how you do it. Before we watch the video, I'll just introduce it to you. So there were 2 kids on the plane who were something like 2 years old or less, who were not wearing masks. And because of this, maybe they were under the age of 6, but they were young. They were not wearing masks, and they were ordered off the plane. And so soon, people on the plane rose up and they said, you know what? We all have to get off this plane. That's how you make things change. That's how you create change. That's the protest I'm talking about. Take a look.
Don't see. Stand up for other people. Stand up. I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to stand. Say to Frontier, I'm not going to take your character. Stand up. Stand up for other people. There were only Jewish people sitting in the back 2 rows. Stand up.
We're on the feelings. We're on the feelings. Everyone is going down. It's Gamer of the Letzte. Gamer of the Letzte. Gamer of the Letzte. We're gonna stop surviving.
Okay. Oh, Lord. What? You need me to help you with that? It's a yummy pizza.
Everything because a 1-year-old didn't have a mask.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Okay, bye.
All right, so you saw that video. There was a 1-year-old not wearing a mask, and they wanted the kids from this family and the entire family to get off the plane. And so you saw the one guy at the beginning of the video says, stand up, and everybody's in that aisle getting their luggage, getting off the plane. That's how you do it. That was a plane from New York to Israel. And you know, that's a very long flight. I've gone to Israel from New York. It is like an 11-hour flight going from the United States to Israel. I believe back from Israel back to the United States, it's 13 hours. But it's a very long flight. And so you go on, you're on this flight, you're ready to go, you've planned the whole day, and it's a big deal to get off that plane in solidarity with somebody else. And they all did that. And they made a message, they sent a message to the airline to stop doing this. We all have to do these kinds of things if we're ever going to reclaim life as normal back, and if we're ever going to stop the insanity. There's no reason a 1-year-old should be wearing a mask. In fact, even the FAA rules say that a 1-year-old does not need to wear a mask. So this is absurd, and I'm glad that the people on this flight stood up. And not only am I glad, but so is Rob Schneider. Take a look at his tweet about this. So he said, 2 children not wearing masks were told to get off the plane. Everyone on the plane left with them. That's how we end this nonsense. Exactly. That is exactly how we end this nonsense. And you see that the tweet that sent this out says, we are the 99%. Exactly. So the 1% are the Hunter Bidens and Joe Bidens of the world who get the Secret Service to resolve their issues. Now, it is Friday. So that means new movies are out. And when we come back, we will be going through all the new movies this weekend. Not that many of them, but a few oldies. And also, I want to say a few things before we get to that about Passover, because I'm going to celebrate that beginning tomorrow night. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So this weekend, Saturday night at nightfall, or actually at sundown, the Jewish holiday of Passover begins. Our holidays begin at sundown. Our holidays end at nightfall. And the Jewish holiday of Passover begins. I know there are very few Jewish families in North Dakota. Something like the estimate is 30 to 40 families. Many of them, or most of them, live in Fargo. There is a synagogue that has been newly reclaimed and really beautified in downtown Bismarck. Just a lovely place. I visited it a year ago in January, and it has a Solomon's Rest sign in front of it, but that's not the name of the synagogue. Maybe they've taken that sign down since then. But there are very few Jews in North Dakota. At one time, there were many. They were farmers. They were importers and exporters. They came from places like Russia and Germany. And so the estimate is that there are 400 Jews in North Dakota. It is the beginning of Passover. And whether you're Jewish or not, it is really ironic, and should be to you as it is to me, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sent out Passover wishes to America's Jewish people because they stand for everything that Passover is the exact opposite of. Passover is about the freedom of the Jewish people. And if you are a Christian, you know that Jesus was a Jew and he was descended from the people that came out of slavery in Egypt. And this is the story of that, how the Jewish people, with God's help and God's leading the way, they got out of slavery in Egypt and they left. And a lot of miracles happened for them in the desert before they got to the land of Israel. And we celebrate that as Jewish people. So I just find it the really reprehensible and the height of irony that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who not only want to enslave the American people, make them slaves to government and big spending and COVID and not having our freedom, that they would pretend that they support this holiday. I also find it ironic that they would say that when they've already vowed that they will really betray our best friend in the world, and especially in the Middle East, Israel, and that they are now going to embrace Hamas and the PLO-run Palestinian Authority. And they are going to do this with your tax money, with the American tax money, and not just Americans from other states, but North Dakota too. You pay for this. They are funding and financing terrorists with your money. So for them to say that they celebrate Passover, that they want to wish the Jewish people a happy Passover, you can take that and you know where you can put it, Joe and Kamala. One other thing I would say is that they say that only 20% of the Jews actually left Egypt. 80% of them chose to remain slaves in Egypt. They thought that that was a better life. And I think that that is very interesting because in the past, that has been the number of Jews that have voted for the liberal Democrats, 80%. They want to remain in slavery, whereas people like me who are devout and do believe in our religion, we want to be free. We're proud and we want our human rights. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris do not stand for that. All right, so it is Friday. It is our last segment, and I want to go through the movies. So there are a few new movies this weekend, and then I'm going to tell you about some movies that I saw that are older that you can stream online. So the first new movie this weekend, this is the biggest one. It's called Nobody. And I enjoyed this movie. If you like the movie Death Wish, which is one of my favorite movies, Charles Bronson is the best. This doesn't compare to that movie, but it's a modern day version. I enjoyed it. It's sort of like a mix of John Wick and it stars the actor who plays Better Call Saul from the Breaking Bad show and Better Call Saul. And he plays a husband who is unappreciated. One night, he works hard. His wife and he are not so close anymore. One night, thieves break into his house, and he has the opportunity to get them. And he lets them go. And his son sees this. And his son thinks of him as a loser because of this. And his neighbors find out. His wife, everybody thinks he's a loser. His father-in-law, who is his boss, his brother-in-law, and he wants to get respect back. So he goes out and he finds criminals and he beats them up. One of them happens to be related to a Russian mobster. And it's, the old fallback on the Russian mobsters as criminals because they can't show black criminals, although in this movie there is a black Russian, and they can't show other criminals of minority ethnicities because that would be unwoke of them. But still, I enjoyed the movie. There's lots of guns, lots of violence, but I enjoyed it. And if you like the John Wick movies, if you like the Death Wish movie, you will like this movie. So my rating for this is 2 Reagan's Nobody. All right, now the next new movie is called 6 Minutes to Midnight. This was a very interesting movie because it's based on a true story. Did you know, I didn't know this, but did you know there was a Nazi girls' school in England? Yes, that's right. In Great Britain, in England, on the seaside, there was this fancy private girls' school run by Nazis. And it was for girls who were the progeny of Nazi officials who were high-ranking. And this is the true story of a teacher that worked there who was actually a spy for MI6 British intelligence, and they did not want these girls to leave. Why? Because the Germans would take them home, and then the British wouldn't have hostages and would not have bargaining power with the Nazis. And they wanted the girls to stay in England, and they did that. They also thought, by the way, that the Germans might kill these girls if they didn't get them out safely, and the British wanted to save their lives. So it's a very, very interesting story. Eddie Izzard plays the teacher. He is really good. I think he's a great actor. I've seen him in a lot of movies. Yes, he wears women's clothes and is a cross-dresser who uses the pronouns he and her. But yes, a nugget of information we didn't need. But he's a great actor. He was really good in this. It was a good thriller. Not the greatest thriller I've ever seen, but still pretty good. I enjoyed it. Very interesting and a new story to me. 3 Reagans. 6 minutes to midnight. Now, the next movie, it's kind of new. It came out late last year. It's called Swallow. I hated this movie. It was mildly entertaining. It's very quirky. It's about this woman who's a newlywed. She has nothing to do. Her husband's very rich. Her in-laws are very rich. She is the child of somebody that was raped, and she is a child of rape, and she has this weird mental issue where she swallows dangerous objects like metals and tacks and things like that. It's very dangerous. It's a weird movie. It was a complete waste of time. I hated it. Swallow, I give it 2 Marxes. Now, some old movies. There was a movie from 2009 called The Box. Frank Langella, who is a great actor, was in this. I really wanted to love this movie. I thought it was going to be like The Twilight Zone. A man comes to people's houses. He grants them their wish. But in exchange, they have to press a button on a box, and somebody they don't know will die somewhere in exchange for their wishes. I did not care for this movie. I give it 2 Marxes, The Box. Now, we have one last movie, and I'll get to it very quickly, and that is called Defiance. This is a great movie with Daniel Craig starring as part of the Bilski Brotherhood of partisans that fought the Nazis, real-life people. I know one of them, and they saved thousands of lives. I give that movie 4 Reagans, and remember, things are not always as they seem. Have a great weekend. See you next week.